No, what are you talking about? My ego's at an all-time high. I mean, I'm insufferable right now. And YouTube is now live, finally. There we go.
Hey, welcome in, YouTube.
So, give me just whatever. I mean, really, whenever you're ready.
Are you sure?
I think so. Hey, everybody, give us a comment if you can hear us out there in TV land.
Yeah. TV land.
Hello.
We combed the entire desert.
And we're looking for a little interaction today, by the way, because there's some heated talkers, is what I'd say. NFL draft opinions, that's getting a little bit...
is the show rundown done?
No, it's not.
Okay.
And we can survive.
Can we?
Right now, I think so, because I think I can do it on the fly.
Ooh, we're going to test Gabe's capabilities here, folks. Mike, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Gabe is working on being ready, but we'll kick into it anyways. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to yet another episode of Glass Half Sports. I am one half of your hosting duties, Nick Huffman, joined by my forever faithful co-host, Mike Mensing. How are you doing on this fantastic NFL reminds itself, every other sports league, that it's better than them even in the off-season draft day?
Yeah. I mean, it's basically the kickoff to the 2023 season, so I'm excited. I agree with the quote that's been stated this morning. Supposedly, one anonymous GM said that this is the most unpredictable draft in forever.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I would be inclined to agree with that, and that makes it fun for viewers tonight as well.
Yeah, very much so. What platforms can they find us on if they are looking for our expert analysis or to rip any of our takes, Mike?
Yeah, guys, you can always find us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, Spotify, YouTube, Patreon, and Twitch. We post clips, full show, different things. We interact with you guys. We definitely want to hear your opinion as well. That's what this is. This is the sports fans show, basically. So this is for you guys. So we can also be found post-show on local cable here in the Twin Cities on MCN 6. That is Saturdays at 10 p.m. Otherwise, you can catch that airing through MCN 6 through your Roku remote anywhere in the world.
At any time.
At any time.
And also, you forgot to mention, we go fully nude. Full frontal.
I mean, this is a pretty bare show, so yeah. I'll give you that one.
Well,
Gabe's trying to relive it.
Initiative.
Gabe is obviously working on his stand-up act as he gets ready to get back into things.
I would say, speaking of full frontal,
yeah,
we do have a big show.
Nice
For you guys today. So we do have the Minnesota Sports Roundup. We're going to touch base, obviously, Vikings vision, talk about the NFL draft tonight. We have to do Wild Watch for playoffs, Wolves Watch for playoffs, our last segment for that for a while.
Thank God.
And then our Twins stuff as well. We're going to talk about the Tank versus King Garcia fight.
Yep.
So Tank Davis versus Ryan Garcia fought this past weekend. It seems like it was 2 weeks ago, but we haven't yet done our post-fight recap, so we'll do that for you guys today. We do have some NFL news that we want to touch on. We do have a little segment for what's more likely for the NFL draft. And then we're going to do our NBA playoff second round previews. Most of the first round is completed.
Yeah.
Few games left to play in both the West and the East, but we're going to make a few predictions and kind of look at what we think the matchups for round 2 are going to be for you guys.
Absolutely.
And then we're going to do our MLB 30 under 30. I think it wraps up today.
22-year-olds today, and then we have, I think, 3 players left after this. And that
okay, so 22-year-olds today, and then we pretty much have, 20-year-olds? I don't think there's any 21-year-olds.
There isn't. There's 20-year-olds, and then there's a 19-year-old that makes the list. So if you're interested to see what 19-year-old may have made this list, feel free to tune back in over the coming weeks as we wrap that segment up. And with all the youth of that 19-year-old superstar, we can kick right into the show with energy today with a little bit of Vikings vision, Mike. Today is the day where I guess we get to start putting some more concrete evidence into the Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah draft strategy, team building, future of the franchise, skull forward Minnesota Vikings. And what are your thoughts as we approach the draft here?
Yeah, I think we've all been hearing a lot of speculation about what the Minnesota Vikings are going to do.
Oh, yeah.
I think a lot of it, too, is you hear a speculation that maybe you personally as a fan want, and then you push that narrative, right?
That is Twitter.
So I'm going to take 2 views quick. I'll go really quick what I want them to do and what I think that they're going to do.
Sure.
They actually align.
All right.
I want them to trade back.
Yeah.
As frustrating as it is going to be as a Minnesota Vikings fan, we shouldn't have a pick tonight. the future of our franchise, if we do it right, we're going to get 3-4 picks, move back. We have to get depth and talent around the quarterback of the future. Is the quarterback of the future going to be drafted in this draft? There is a possibility of that, but I think it's a 3rd or a 4th round guy that you develop underneath Kirk, because I don't think that the talent between the 1st round guys and the 4th and 5th round guys in this draft specifically is that different.
Very nice. Were you in Rick Spielman's drug drawer this morning with the want to trade back? You can't just be like, hey, we're going to hold firm at 23 and get the best player available.
I think that there's definitely merit in that.
Okay.
But you do only have 5 picks. You need 10 players, basically. So,
also true.
One of those things does not add up, right? In order to get the depth that you need, it's basically trade back, or you're settling for free agents that are still available. And let's be honest, that's not the cream of the crop.
That's true. And this is going to be a good segue, because I think what's more likely tonight is actually going to be that the Vikings move current players for assets in the draft where they're deep or where they have veteran talent that can be flipped for multiple picks. Dalvin Cook met with the team about 2 weeks ago. It sounds like everything is good with the shoulder, and he's been heavily tied to the Miami Dolphins. That has been reported, obviously, by NFL Rumors on Twitter and a couple of different places as well. How do you feel about a potential Miami Dolphins draft night trade of Dalvin Cook to accumulate maybe that 2nd and a 4th round pick, 2nd and a 6th round pick, something like that?
I am all for it.
Yeah.
You don't pay Alexander Madison the way that you did for him to carry the ball 50 times this
100%.
year. He is going to be your guy in the offense that we run. We don't need one of the best running backs in the league. We just don't with what we do offensively. So Alexander Madison will fill that role pretty nicely. I wouldn't hate us drafting another running back.
If Bijan Robinson, the more and more that we hear that Bijan might fall based on some of the other teams' needs, if he's sitting there at 23 and you can move Dalvin, it's hard not to take that guy.
It is hard not to. Actually, I heard on KFan this morning, Ben Lieber argue against that move itself.
Sure.
I understood his points, and I have to say I'm on the fence. I don't know what I would do if I was in Kwesi's shoes at 23 with Bijan available, because I do understand where his argument was taking him.
Yeah.
You have Madison, you're paying Madison.
Yeah.
You don't need a running back in this offense. You need a whole lot more on the field.
Yeah.
So drafting a running back is a little bit of a quandary for this team at the moment. Not that he's not going to be probably the best running back in the NFL over the next 10 years.
Right.
It's just, what is that value to us in our scheme?
I would totally agree with you, and my argument remains the same on Bijan Robinson, and it's wherever you draft him. I think when you draft a guy like, especially in the Minnesota Vikings situation, everybody that's saying don't draft a running back is looking at this year and this year in particular. I strongly believe that if you're going to help insulate a rookie quarterback, one of the best things you can do is have what Dak Prescott had early in Zeke Elliott, what even some of the terrible Vikings quarterbacks had early in Adrian Peterson, or what Jalen Hurts even had early in Miles Sanders. Like, there are situations there when you have that level of run game that truly allows the quarterback of the future that everybody is planning to have grow behind them. And then eventually you can flip the switch to where you're a pass-heavy offense, and then as that back ages, he takes less of a beating because the field is more wide open. And, you can work, it's going to be a 5-year contract. So your quarterback will be ready in year 3, and you're going to have a 2-year window with both of them at the top of their game, right? So that is my argument for Bijan. I just think some people are looking at it maybe a little short-sighted.
You do have Madison on a 3-year deal.
Correct.
So it's kind of more of a 3-year window. I just don't see, KOC would legitimately need to change his scheme.
Sure.
If you brought in Bijan Robinson, he would also need to basically completely change his scheme if he were to bring in the fan favorite, from what I've been hearing, Anthony Richardson.
Yeah.
Is there maybe one guy you specifically would want us to take tonight that you're specifically circled on your list?
There's a corner that I reached out to you about from Maryland very early in the draft process. A guy that we've been tied to, since early on, and then it was Levis, and then it was the wide receivers, and then But this guy always seems...
Let's not forget, this is lying season for NFL
absolutely.
teams and administrations. Right?
I think a guy like Deonte Banks is a perfect fit. The one thing that I think the Vikings have truly lacked at the corner position is just raw speed and agility for a long time, and we see it with how we're either playing so soft that they're beating us up underneath, or when we press and blitz, we're getting beat over the top because we don't have the athletes in the secondary to keep up with a Jalen Waddle, a Tyreek Hill, a Stephon Diggs, some of the burners that you're going to find. Christian Watson is going to develop into one of those guys. You know what I mean? Over in Green Bay. DJ Moore is now in Chicago. So I think to have a corner with that type of speed at 23 is not a bad idea. Joey Porter, to me, is an even better pick if we can get him to fall that far, and I'm not all the way out on Keelan Ringo, but I do think it needs to be a corner if you're going to be in the first round tonight with exceptional athletic tools.
I don't disagree with the logic of a corner. I just fall back to my personal policy on first-round picks is that they need to make an immediate impact. I don't see a corner being able to step in and start over Byron or over Andrew Booth Jr.
Yeah.
So... personally, if we are going to go defense in that pick, actually, what I'm going to say is it needs to be line, period. On either side of the ball. Tackle. It needs to be defensive tackle or interior offensive line if you stay at 23.
Okay.
That's going to be the most valuable player for your franchise moving forward at that pick, right? And
sure.
Casey's a big value guy.
Sure.
How about, I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say, you want to impact your team right away in the first round. That's how you do it with this roster.
Yeah.
What's up, Gabe?
How about trading it for Trey Lance?
No. Trey, and I understand Minnesota kid, right? Coming out of the draft, they paid a lot for him.
He's done nothing. Why?
Nothing.
Why do you want him?
Absolutely
Why?
Nothing.
He's played like 2 games in 5 years. Stop it.
It's very true.
Stop it.
What about just the wisdom of having a capable backup for Cousins?
No.
You're not worried about him?
Right now, I would take Nick Mullins over Trey Lance.
I was going to say.
Okay.
So, Trey Lance is the capable backup?
And here's
he's not more highly touted than whoever the fuck you just said.
Not for the value.
Well, sure, he's more highly touted. His name is bigger.
Well, there's reasons for that. They don't just fucking
sure,
pull it out of their ass,
yeah, of course there's reasons for it. He didn't throw an interception for an entire season at NDSU.
Yeah.
Which was 4 years ago.
But, I was going to say that's 4 years ago. The other point is he's also shown now that's a big injury to have when you're young, the injury that he's just sustained for one. Kyle Shanahan, if you go back and look at all of the preseason pressers, I talked about it on the show. I said, it seems kind of weird to me that they're keeping Jimmy around and all you hear from Kyle Shanahan is, Trey Lance had a great day. Trey Lance had a not so great day. It seems to me like he has struggled to truthfully...
Here, let's zoom out.
They see some talent there.
Let's zoom out here. They traded
three
first round picks and a second to move up to get this guy.
Yep.
And 3 years later, they're looking to deal him. Why?
And the Niners have already...
Because they had backup talent that came in that they think is... whatever, as good or better.
But here's the thing. Now, much like Lamar, Trey Lance's perceived value, is disproportionate to what the Niners think it's going to be. The Niners came out and said it would take a substantial package to move Trey Lance, which to me probably means 2 firsts. I wouldn't trade a third for Trey Lance right now.
No.
Did you see Rick Spielman put out a thing of his mock draft kind of for us, which was kind of interesting to me that he even did that, you know?
I did not.
So here I'm going to put up the picture of his pick. I think this was his first pick. Let me see. I'll verify.
Oh, yeah.
Quentin Johnston. Johnston.
Yep, we covered it. We covered him on the show. Major concerns for him.
Shows why Rick should no longer be employed as the general manager of the Minnesota Vikings.
This is the same guy that drafted Laquan Treadwell, and guess what? Similar issues for both receivers. Not a lot of top end speed. Lacks the ability to separate. Is not a great red zone target. No, thank you.
He also mentioned a cornerback, and I'm just like, have we not proven that we have no fucking clue how to draft cornerbacks in the first round?
Well, now let's give Kwesi and KOC their credit.
Yep.
That was a different administration that brought in the likes of Trey Waynes or, gosh, there's 5 of them.
Yeah, Hughes.
Yeah.
All those guys, right?
And Xavier Rhodes, who are all supposed to be these perennial first all-team corners that, maybe one of them panned out for 1 season in Xavier Rhodes?
Exactly. And the other part of this is, remember, now injuries aside, in the opportunities that we had to see a Caleb Evans last year, like in that Buffalo game where there were spot starts, I think even in Miami where he's running up against speed, real burners, he looked like a quality corner.
Well, and I think, and that's the thing is you're bringing back a Caleb Evans and Andrew Booth Jr. You went and got Byron Jones.
Yes.
To me, a first-round corner doesn't make the impact that they need to.
Potentially.
Like, if you're truly trying to be a competitive rebuild, last year might have been competitive, this year might be rebuild, but you could make the playoffs with this roster with the terrible division that you're in.
I think you could. I was going to say the reason the Vikings could get back into the playoffs this year with the secondary that they have is because of the division that they play in. They're Jameson Williams suspended for 11 games. DJ Moore has Justin Fields throwing to him, and there's no more Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay. You're not in a division where you're going up against murderers row at quarterback or at the weapons position. So I agree with you. Once again, my outlook on it is not just this year to get back to the playoffs. It's for us to be able to have playoff success come next year and to have 4 corners, all with 2-3 years or more of experience at that point when you're going to have to play against the NFC's.
4 corners just isn't like how often are NFL teams in dime?
That's square, man.
They're maybe 10%. Like they're in nickel.
Yeah.
So you have 3 corners and 2 safeties. Technically, you already have 3 basically starting safeties on your roster.
And you do have Cam Bynum as well. Right? And who's got corner experience.
So who's going to come up and even play the nickel? Like you might already have your secondary in place right now.
True.
So I get it. And that's the thing is like if let's say we take a D tackle. He might not be as impactful as that corner 4 years down the road.
Sure.
But if he's a stalwart D tackle for us for 8 years, I don't care if he's all pro. Be a satisfactory B-level D tackle for us for 8 years. I'll take that.
So I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Jalen Carter is not going to go outside the top 10.
Correct.
The Vikings have been in contact with both the Houston Texans and the Arizona Cardinals. If he's on the board and you can make that deal happen, is that the guy you go get?
Depends on what you pay for the deal because he potentially has. I'm gonna channel my inner PA here. I'm going to shout out PA because he has been saying something for about a week that I've actually been agreeing with.
Okay.
Try to get your Chris Jones.
Oh, Chris Jones.
You try to get your Chris Jones or your, who's the guy, Dexter Lawrence, or your dominant 3 technique, it doesn't matter what your DBs look like if he's that dominant.
Pressure up the middle is the one thing a quarterback can't defend against.
Right. And so it would depend on what the value would be needed to get Jalen Carter because he would transform that defense tomorrow.
Oh,
right?
Absolutely.
And that's the thing about if you're going to trade up into the top 10, it better be someone who walks into the building tomorrow and everybody goes, oh, shit.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is if you do it at 2 or 3 for Anthony Richardson, that doesn't happen.
No, it doesn't.
Everybody's looking at him like, fucking really?
Is this going to... Well, it's. I don't think it's that bad, but you're kind of holding your breath, waiting to see what he really is once he gets into an NFL system.
I think if they've watched a full game of Florida and not his highlights, it is that bad, if I'm being honest with you. But
that's what Peter King says, that he said that we are going after Richardson.
It's the dynamic.
Again,
it's
lying
ability.
season.
So
who leaked that?
Peter King.
But who leaked it to Peter King?
Yeah,
exactly.
I gotcha. Well, he's not necessarily a journalist that they use to lie, though. You know, like he's a very credible guy. I
want to make it super clear. I'm not bashing any of the reports that have come out in the last 2 weeks for the draft at all.
I get it.
But if you are a NFL GM and you can get a better value or throw somebody off the scent of a player because you want to get that player or anything like that,
you're doing it right now.
You are lying through your teeth about every little thing.
Absolutely.
You are telling Kyle Shanahan to come to the podium and say how great Trey Lance is looking in practice. Like, all of these things are smoke and mirrors.
Yep.
We won't know anything until about 11 o'clock tonight.
Yep.
That's why it's fun.
If the Vikings do trade up, make a really aggressive move, and let's say they trade a player who's on roster now, who is that
Dalvin
player?
Cook.
Dalvin Cook. The other one will be either Darius Smith
or Danielle Hunter.
And I think if there is a team, and I know PA made this whole stink on. I hate that we've brought him up twice in a Vikings segment now.
Vikings fans know who he is.
I get you.
He's in their ears. We can combat it. It's okay.
He did mention how there's no way you're going to get these bad teams to take inflated veteran contracts for draft capital. It never happens. And then the guy he was on, I can't remember who he was on with, turned around and went, okay, well, what about Rudy Gobert? Did Rudy Gobert's contract not get taken on? So it is possible if you have the right GM to strike the deal, right? I think you could look to Arizona, who needs a running back, who lacks pass rush. You could look at Houston, who lacks a pass rush. And as much as they may not need Dalvin Cook, to have him as a change of pace back or a two-headed monster with them not having a quarterback with David Pierce, like those are things that make sense to me, so you don't have to give up more picks to move up into the top 10.
As video game like as this sounds, can you not combo Dalvin with a pick and move up, and combo Daniil with a pick and move up?
Correct. No, I get it. Yeah. No, I am of the mindset of you take the best player at the draft whenever you have the chance to take him this year. So if somebody begins to fall and you can get a deal done, get the deal done because you're getting the best. Do you not ask yourself
why they're falling though? If Will Levis, let's just say we sit at 23. Like this is my example. Let's say we're just going to stick at 23.
Sure.
And we don't even know that as fans. We see the top 10 go through, whatever. Our pick is up at 23. Will Levis has dropped.
Sure. Why? Yeah.
At that point,
why has
I'm
he
like,
dropped?
pass.
Sure.
Don't want him because something is wrong.
I got you. Adrian Peterson fell due to injury concerns.
But to 7.
Aaron Rodgers fell. There are plenty of, and say what you want about him as a person, we'll get to it later. Still one of the most talented individuals and successful quarterbacks at that position over the last decade and a half.
True. But Alex Smith also came in and started the first day. So, like, that's the thing, is it depends on what you look for. I don't think Aaron Rodgers could have walked off the field at Cal and started at
I don't think
Lambeau,
so either.
But Alex Smith could have, right?
Sure.
So, like, it's value now, too. They do try to wait what's coming in the future. But, I mean, Randy Moss, he dropped because of things. So, it's the why. It's why did you drop that is concerning. And a quarterback who has been somewhat squeaky clean, if he just drops like that, it's scary. It's scary. But with that, I think you guys need to let us know what you are looking forward to about the Vikings draft tonight. Who is the pick or player you want them to make?
Yeah, we will be watching along. I know the Twitter accounts will be active tonight. We'll be interacting with you guys throughout the draft. Excited to see it. And who the Vikings' newest addition might be.
I don't think we'll have one.
How about a hard bet here? You guys don't want to wager on something here? This seems like a good spot for that.
Well, Mike doesn't think you want to bet that we're a gentleman's bet. That I say we move up, you say we move back. There we go.
What's at stake?
A gentleman's bet. Like $1.
It's $1.
It's basically just pride. It's being able to brag on the show that you were correct.
Yeah, kind of like we do with Twins Talker, which took in the teeth a little bit this week. But let's move on to the Minnesota Wild, shall we?
So Minnesota Wild.
So let's start with Game 4. Now, I kind of expected, just because I do pay attention to the statistics, and Ottinger, their goalie, does have a 98.6 save percentage or something ridiculous like that coming off of losses. So I knew that he was going to be primed and ready to go, and it was going to be difficult to get the puck in net, period, for that game. So I did expect a loss there. What I will say is for the remainder of that game, or anything outside of the goaltending for that game and the game that followed, absolutely atrociously terrible, awful, bad, unrealistic, punishable by a capital offense refereeing has happened, and it deflated the morale of the Minnesota Wild. It has been so bad. I am never one to make excuses for teams based on officiating, but
the Foligno call in Game 5 was just fucking laughable. You
give
the guy a 5-minute minor,
bad.
And then you go to review it, and we all know, watching this review, that it should be, what, a 2-minute?
It should be a 2-minute.
Maybe?
Yes.
If anything, and they kick him out of the game and give him a 10-minute. Oh, yeah, I smell some fishy stuff happening.
The officiating has just been fucking bad.
But if you... Now, we agree that the officiating has been terrible. We are on that side. However, if you are up 2-1 and have a chance to go up 3-1 in your own building,
yes,
there's no excuse. There's no, for a franchise that has been around for over 2 decades, to never have a lead in a playoff series up 3-1 is criminal.
Yeah. Also bad. I mean, it's bad. Yeah, it's bad statistically. I think much like the Minnesota Timberwolves, who we're going to talk about here in a second, have missed Jaden McDaniels during their series. I think the Wild are hurting for Joel Eriksson-Ek. The cog that he plays, even as maybe the most important role player in that offense, has shown since his inability to get back on the ice in the latter part of this series. It has hurt us quite a bit.
Yeah. I mean, I don't disagree with you, right? He was an integral player of this team all season. It's just tough, man. It's almost, I don't know. It's probably my ignorance for hockey, but it feels like we watch two different Wild teams.
Yeah.
They'll come out game 3. They looked faster, bigger, stronger, like they wanted it more. And then game 4, it was like their little brothers took their sweaters. It was weird, right?
To me, it almost comes down to their inability to create pace from the faceoff. They haven't won a faceoff in the last 2 games.
No, it's fucking terrible. Well, we did know going into this year that we needed a center.
We definitely need one now.
We need a center. We need a top 15 in the league center if you're going to help Kirill be able to create chances for him and win a fucking faceoff in your own zone. You know how many penalty kill faceoffs we've lost in our own zone that have led to a quick 3-second goal for the Stars?
That's been the majority.
It's fucking brutal.
It's been the majority of their points all season long, and it's been bad to see.
So now we're back in Minnesota, Game 6, series on the line. How are we feeling about this?
Not confident because I don't know.
We're both glass half empty right now. This isn't good.
I don't know if Dean Evison and Billy Guerin have the ability to pull the trigger on what should be done, which is you leave Philip Gustafsson in the goal and you don't give this thing back to Marc-Andre Fleury to lose it. You just don't. But I don't know. I think what they're going to do is they're going to say, hey, we're going to give the guy with all the series closing or series saving experience the opportunity in net. And now when we're not scoring well and we can't stop the power play, we're at risk of giving up another 7 spot that we can't overcome no matter how well we play.
Yeah. It's shades of last year a little bit, but you have given Fleury a game, but he played terrible, right?
Just awful.
Yeah. I mean, again, probably my ignorance for hockey coming out. Typically, I've always thought other teams will play a goalie maybe 5 games out of a 7-game series, and then they're back up 2.
Yep.
The Stars are one of those teams. We will never see another goalie in goal for them.
No. Ottinger is their guy.
Right? And it would be kind of nice if we just ran with Gustafsson the same way.
I would be okay with that.
That guy as well.
I would be okay with that.
So Game 6, I'm actually going to say that we win Game 6. And then because I called it when we made the Fleury trade in the middle of the season last year, we're going to lose Game 7 because we didn't set ourselves up for future success.
I think we're done in Game 6.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
3 days, with the only caveat being unless Joel Eriksson-Ek is showing up to skate, here quickly. The offense is flat, and the defense has been as good as Faber and Dumba have played. Everybody else on defense has not been great.
Yeah, shout out Brock Faber. He has been a breath of fresh air.
So,
all right, well, from one playoff series coming to an end to the end of another playoff series, let's talk about the Minnesota Timberwolves.
You want to defend Cat now or later?
I don't want to defend Cat. I just want to say I personally saw a different Cat in Game 5 than what I am used to seeing.
Sure.
And if we can continuously, on a consistent basis, see the Cat that came out in Game 5, this franchise is going to move forward. Because I didn't see that face. I saw that face on the screen right now from Jokic about 10 times more than Cat in Game 5.
Has a question for you.
Please.
Brand new Cat. Great competitor. Did we win?
Can I give you a but?
Mm-mm.
Just a yes or no?
Just a yes or no.
No.
Then it doesn't fucking matter.
We didn't lose because of him.
I know we didn't lose because of him, but if you're gonna,
we almost won because of him.
If you're gonna cite change in a player, the only time that it is relevant, and I'll use Russell Westbrook as an example. Sure. The only time it is relevant is then when it results in wins. Otherwise, you are nothing more than a glorified stat stuffer. And regardless of Cat's attitude, that is who he has been his entire career.
So you brought up Russell Westbrook.
Yes.
You don't think that the Clippers are extremely excited about what Russell Westbrook can do for them in the future? Even though they lost the series?
Do you know why he got Paul George's minutes? Because towards the end of the season when Paul George got hurt, that
Those
energy
aren't Paul George's minutes. He's a 1 or a 2. George is a 3, man.
George is the one that had the knee injury, and Russ took over a lot of his minutes, a lot of the minutes share. And the reason he was able to do so was because the performance and attitude that he was providing was leading to victories. What got him kicked out of L.A., he may have had the same attitude, but it was leading to losses, so it didn't matter.
But look at his stat line for the Clippers in that playoff series.
Sure.
It was like 4 years ago, Russ, and they won, what, 1 game in the series? So what I'm saying is, like, you can take... I'm going to quote Giannis. There are no failures in sports. There are wins and lessons.
Sure.
And this lesson, in my opinion, is if you can get Cat that way. It's a big if. I agree with you. And I'm not saying that...
The biggest if.
I agree. But I'm telling you, man, watching that Game 5, that was a big man that you can actually build a team around. And it was the first time that I've personally seen it from Cat. And to see it in a season-preventing game like that was encouraging. Because he didn't... What he usually does is he shrinks.
Yeah.
He didn't shrink, Nick. That's all I'm saying. And then to me, I was like, oh, we're down by 8. And Cat's not just shooting threes. He's driving to the basket, getting fouled and finishing, going to the line and converting, and then coming back and playing good defense.
Sure.
I'm like, oh, this is actually refreshing and nice to see. And if we can see that on a consistent basis, this is a pretty good team.
The team is still talent-wise pretty good.
Let's not forget, we pushed Denver to the brink in 3 of the 4 wins that they had. And we were without our best defender. We were without
on this game.
We were without another big because we had Brandon Knight.
Yep.
Like, I don't know, man. I was encouraged by what we did this playoffs.
I think major changes still need to be made, and I think Cat is your biggest leverage piece to get to where the Timberwolves want to go. And the only thing that I think that this newfound attitude might be good for is you better hope you can bottle it, put it on tape, and send it to every team in the NBA, hoping one of them falls for the fact that they think that that's the guy they're going to get game in and game out. And they give you the farm like we got fooled by watching Rudy Gobert's highlight package last year. That is the only thing that this is good for. I've got about as much faith in Karl Anthony Towns' ability to be emotionally mature on a consistent basis as I do Mike Trout's health. It's not strong at all.
I think that's a fair take. All I want to make clear is that it was refreshing to see him not baby up.
Fair enough. Now, the guy that we should be giving all the credit to is the immature, apparently, potential reincarnate of Mike Jordan in a fucking Timberwolves jersey, because the guy has put up 35 points per game and you want to talk about why we've been close, why we've pushed Denver to the brink in 3 of the last 4 games. It's been Anthony Edwards' performance and Anthony Edwards' performance alone. This man is a playoff masterpiece. Now, he may
That's funny. I was actually going to compare him to another former Bulls player.
Sure.
Chicago Bull Ron Artest.
And
do you see the comparison? I'm pretty sure both of them have thrown chairs.
Okay. Fair enough.
Are we going to talk about that part?
We're going to get there. We're going to get there.
I thought Ant looked good. Yeah, I agree. I think Ant took over. Honestly, Gobert was slow getting up and down the floor, as to be expected. Na looked really good. Nickeil Alexander-Walker.
Yes.
He is an amazing role player moving forward. Mike Conley looked good. Mike Conley made some hustle plays, too, for a 35-year-old that was like, it showed that this team as a collective, their effort was there. They were wanting to win that game.
If you go get a point guard this year, Mike Conley is the best 6th-man point guard 100%. In the league
100%
right now. No, I like him. So now that we've had the opportunity to kind of unpack the series, it is over. There's a lot to look for in the offseason, and we got a lot to unpack with the Wolves, obviously. But before we do, I think we should do some exit interviews. We're going to bring the players in groups here. And, Mike, I just want to know, we'll give our opinions on what these guys should be doing or what we think the outlooks of their futures might be to brief them before they go ahead and hit the golf courses. Is that fair?
Sure.
Gabe, do you want to bring on our first group of players, please?
Coming right up. Let's see here. You just fucking had it. There it is.
Bingo. All right, let's start with the bigs.
Okay.
So Karl Anthony Towns, Naz Reid, and Rudy Gobert. And guys, I'll let Mike start here. What do you think that these guys give kind of a brief recap on their season and what they may need to work on going into the offseason, please?
Stay healthy. Durability is going to be key. Personally, I think Naz Reid will be gone by next year. He's good enough to be a starting 5 in this league.
And on a third to 25% of the teams in the NBA, yeah.
On how many? A third
to 25%.
I would say, yeah. The argument that I was making the other day was bottom 50%.
Sure.
You put him on the 16th or 17th best team, he starts for them tomorrow. So I think Naz will be gone. If you can retain him off the bench, again, he's a starting 5 in this league. So if you can retain him somehow, he does help. The biggest thing is if you're going to roll with those two bigs, you have to keep them both healthy. You have to get it going. When Cat was on the floor, Rudy did his best work offensively. Cat was actually the best facilitator for Rudy Gobert this year.
Sure.
Well, you take his best facilitator out for 52 games. Like, it hurts, right? So
awesome.
You got to stay healthy. I don't necessarily think that it's best to move forward with those two.
Sure.
But if that's your plan, those two got to basically just hit the weight room.
That's fair, and with all due respect to your take, do you remember the scene from The Dark Knight Rises where the Joker's in the room, snaps the pool cue in half for the 3 guys, throws it on the floor, and he goes, "All right, tryouts, make it snappy."
Sure, but that's The Dark Knight.
That's essentially what I would see for. Fair enough. Thanks for the correction, but that's essentially what I would see for the Minnesota Timberwolves bigs here. Listen. You can roll forward with any of the 2-3 combination.
2 out of the 3 is going to stay, right? I agree with you.
You can roll with Naz Reid and Cat. You can roll with Naz Reid and Rudy. That's not ideal.
I would say Cat or Rudy or Cat or Naz, right? And that's the thing is like we both are like Cat, but he is the linchpin.
Sure,
he's got to stay out of the 3, right?
Well, unless you can get an insurmountable value back for him in draft capital and other players and whatever, right?
Yep.
So, like, I think that's my approach. It's, hey guys, here's what we're gonna do. You've got about 2 months before we start talking NBA draft and having to make some real decisions around off-season activities. The 2 that come back to me with killer instinct and maturity are going to stay. The odd man out is getting shipped out of town, even if it takes me pennies on the dollar, because it doesn't work with all 3 of them. That'd be my opinion on the big.
I'm trying to figure out Naz Reid's contract quick.
He is up this year. So
he's an unrestricted free agent this summer. Yep. He will be gone. He'll be gone.
We'll see.
We're just not going to. I'm telling you, dude. Somebody's going to offer him starter money.
Yeah,
we're not even going to be able to get close to it. So, who's your next group?
All right, let's bring in the next group of players, Gabe.
I thought this was a boy band for like a doo-wop group.
Yeah, so these are the vets, and we already talked about Mike Conley's standing, right? We, no matter what, would like to see him stick with the team. I think he's good for the locker room. I think he's good for the mentality. He's the adult in the room. He's what you brought him in to be. He's the IQ guy. He's not going to score you a bunch of points. He's a traditional point guard. We'd like to see him stay. How about the likes of Taurean Prince, Kyle Anderson, and Austin Rivers?
I would keep 3 of the 4.
Okay.
I would keep Kyle Anderson because I do think that he does a decent job in the Patrick Beverley role. He does it differently, and I personally preferred Beverley's way of doing it.
Sure.
However, I think you need someone like that because Conley is the silent vet.
Yeah.
Right? He's the do as I do vet. He's not going to tell you you're fucking up. Kyle Anderson will punch you in a game 82. Taurean Prince, I think, is a great role player. Has starter experience, but we can bring him off the bench. He plays good hustle defense, can bring you a 3 at times. Austin Rivers is in the NBA to me because his last name is Rivers.
Yeah.
And I've pretty much always thought that.
Yeah.
I think he's a decent basketball player. But you give him any other last name, I think he's glossed over.
Yeah. I mean,
that's my personal opinion of him.
He can hang around.
Feel free to bash me.
He can hang around
in the one I'd leave.
Well, no, he can hang around in iron jerseys, or he can be the guy in Tropic Thunder that they traded for the washing machine. If that's really what you want. Right. I mean, like,
to me, he's the odd man out. 100%. He doesn't. And if you really want to go 2 out of the 4, again, you're keeping Conley and Anderson.
Oh yeah,
right. Those are the 2 most valuable.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, Taurean Prince is a close second to Rivers in that scenario for me, because you can get his production younger, cheaper.
Yeah, you probably can, but he does bring inexperience. Like, sure. I thought Torian Prince played well in the playoffs too, which a 23-year-old might not do.
Fair enough. So I'd agree with that. I'm definitely keeping Mike Conley. That's like the one like I'll stand on the table for that. So
for sure, Mike Conley. If we do get rid of Kyle Anderson, do you think that we would need someone to come in and fill that role?
No.
Who steps up?
I think that's Ant's role moving forward.
You can't have someone correcting the rest of the team when they're throwing chairs in the locker room, Nicholas. All right, who's next, Gabe?
Well, that would be the youngsters, right? I think those are the only guys left. Dum-dum-dum. Now, here, let's get to the story first. So Denver Sports reports Timberwolves star Anthony Edwards' post-game outburst required police interaction following Tuesday night's Nuggets game. Denver police confirmed that Anthony Edwards has been cited for third-degree assault for striking two women with a folding chair following Tuesday's game. Now, the understanding for the non-Denver media that wants to blow this out of proportion is he threw a chair.
It contacted two employees that work for the Denver Nuggets, but no serious injuries were sustained.
And the chair wasn't aimed at them, ladies and gentlemen.
No.
So intent was not to harm. So let's calm down a little bit.
That's why third degree shocks me, because I'm pretty sure third degree comes with intent, doesn't it?
Yes.
Okay.
So why did he throw it initially? Was it just out of
frustration?
Out of sheer frustration that
it wasn't directed at anyone and accidentally went towards them. It was just a general
From our understanding of the incident that we've heard, and again, this is all an alleged incident.
Yes.
He didn't even for sure throw a chair, technically.
True.
It's alleged. So from our understanding of the alleged incident, he basically got into the locker room extremely frustrated that they had lost Game 5. Again, it was a very close game. They could have won it.
Yes.
And he throws a chair, and it contacts two Denver Nugget employees. My question is, why are Denver Nugget employees in the Wolves locker room after a loss?
Why are they getting in front of our chairs?
Great question, Gabe. Fantastic
Mike,
question.
I didn't know you went to law school either. That was great how you're hedging with your allegeds.
Nothing is proven. It's innocent until proven guilty in this country.
So let's talk about the maturity angle on this. Does this bother you coming from Ant?
It's strike two. Sure. To me, to be completely honest, if you're going to be the number 1 overall pick and the face of a franchise, first of all, to me, you're allowed no strikes. Sure. If I'm being completely honest.
Sure.
But okay, he's 22, 23. He's a young kid. I get it. I was 23 once.
I don't even think he's that old yet, buddy. I think he's 21 years old.
Point proven even more then, right?
Everybody gets one.
Everybody gets one.
Like, or even whatever.
But if you're Gabe, you get 6 or 7.
But this is number 2. Let's not forget about the incident last offseason where he used a homophobic slur towards somebody, and it was like clear that he did it, and there was video evidence of it.
Yep.
He skated on that one.
He did skate on that
big
one.
Time.
So this is strike 2. If there's a strike 3 next year, you look to move him.
Yeah.
You really do. I don't care what he brings you on the court. He needs to be the face of your franchise. KG wasn't throwing chairs, and they lost Western Conference Finals.
He might tell your mother that she looks like she has cancer, but he wasn't throwing chairs.
Well,
it's
lady
hard
looked gone.
It's really hard to think of. I'm trying to think. Is there a decent? Would Michael Jordan throw a chair?
Yeah.
Would those
Michael
kind of
Jordan
guys?
Punches his teammates.
Right. So
but
that's
again,
where I'm kind of
behind closed doors.
This was behind closed doors. If there wasn't any Denver employees there, this wouldn't have gotten out. Somebody just been like, Ant was upset after the game.
And there is an art to getting away with shit, right?
Yeah.
Like, everyone does shit wrong from time to time, but are you smart enough to kind of make those errors behind closed doors, right?
Yeah.
I won't say that.
Nope.
Everybody fucks up, Gabe. It's whether or not you're smart enough
to get caught.
To get away. Or dumb enough to get caught.
Yeah. No, I would agree with that.
Why'd you just repeat what I said? All right.
I agree with it 100%. Yeah. I just needed to put it out of the universe that I agree.
However, for a guy that had a phenomenal rookie season, a good second year, and then in his third year improved his 3-point percentage, total points, points in the paint, points per game, field goal percentage, free throw percentage, steal percentage, block percentage, offensive and defensive rebounds, minutes played, games played. A guy that improved in literal every statistical category.
As expected as a first overall pick going from year 2 to year 3. But
if he can keep his slate clean, you're looking at a guy that can compete for an MVP award next year.
100%. And that's a huge freaking if. And that's the problem.
How about the other two? Now, Jaden McDaniels. The reason I wanted to lump these three in together, does this group right here with SGA or Edwards and McDaniels, does this look like the true core future of the Minnesota Timberwolves for you?
If I were switched places with Tim Connolly right now, I would add one face to that, and that's the 4 that I would run forward with. And you're going to hate me for it, but it would be Cat.
No.
It would be.
What are you seeing in him that, like...
Here's the thing.
He's a milquetoast athlete.
Okay.
It's on the billboard. That's what
you know what I see in Cat is one of the best shooting bigs there's ever been. One of the most athletic bigs. There's not many bigs can take the ball on the perimeter and drive to the hole and finish while being fouled.
Is he a good big?
No.
Because you're talking about a lot of small stuff.
And that's why. Why. So, like, that's the thing. That's why he's the 4th face here. He's not the lead face.
Why not just move him to 3 then? If that's the way he plays. Like,
you need to move him to a 4. Truly. And then you need to have a big 5 that can run a la Walker Kessler that can fill that role around him. And then you have Cat be a facilitator. You have Cat be able to hit the 3, put up 24, and get 8 to 10 boards. But Ant is your leader. Ant is your guy. You run the offense through Ant and let Cat be the best number 2 the league has ever seen. Because he has the capability of being that.
Anthony Edwards needs to become what LeBron James was to Kevin Love, and Cat needs to become Kevin Love in Cleveland, where every time the ball comes up the floor, Anthony Edwards makes a decision, and if they collapse and Cat has an opportunity,
he hits
that's where the ball goes.
100%. That's a great analogy.
If Alexander Walker has an opportunity to take an open 3 because he's a consistent sharpshooter a la Ray Allen in Miami, that's what you allow him to do. Jaden McDaniels is no different than Chris Bosh playing in Miami. His impactful numbers as far as points and assists and stuff may not look great, but that's your hustle guy that you put on the other team's best defender every night, and then in crucial spots can get to the bones of what Anthony Edwards is everything that we saw out of LeBron James for the last 16, 17, 18, 19 years. You need to look at that formula and go, that's how we're going to run this team moving forward.
I agree with everything you said, except I would switch LeBron's name for Dwayne's name.
Fair.
To be honest, I agree with everything else. Anthony Edwards can come up the floor every single time and drive the hole, and probably do it pretty damn successfully until they start to collapse. Mm-hmm. And like you said, that's where you have Cat. Like you have these shooters waiting.
That is the offense.
That is your offense.
That is your offense.
If it's going to be successful, that is your offense. And then have Cat, pump fake, move, and comes back out to the 3. Now he can hit his 3. Like, that's your offense.
Yes.
100%. Cat needs to be your number 2 option.
At best, he needs to
not
be
your number 1. All right, let's switch gears to the Minnesota Twins, who, God, man, this team is fun to watch still.
They're good.
April.
They're good. We like the Twins, right?
So who's leading the MLB in wins right now?
I believe it's Sonny Gray.
Nope, wins.
Who
was the first?
The Rays.
Sorry. Let's rewind. Which pitcher is leading the MLB in wins right now?
Joe Ryan.
Which pitcher is leading the MLB in ERA right now?
Sonny Gray.
Yeah. Those two both play for the Twins.
They both play.
Hey, look at this. The pitching rotation is pretty freaking good, and we're excited about it. Let's go.
I am very excited about it. Once Joe Ryan comes away with another masterpiece again last night or 2 nights ago, against the Yankees again. So back-to-back starts against a very stacked lineup. Looks efficient. Looks like the bullpen doesn't give up the lead. Clutch hits in big moments. Like, the team just looks to be well put together. Now, I would like to see the offense come around a little bit. I hate to see the series where you go in against a subpar pitching staff like Washington and only score a total of 6 runs. But
baseball.
That's baseball. And you can see that it's just like the Twins are just below the surface of really being able to elevate themselves if they can get completely healthy, because you see it right now. Kepler's a little hobbled. Kenta Maeda has had some issues.
Is Kirilloff back yet?
Kirilloff is not back yet. Polanco just came off the IL. Buxton had been dinged up.
Well, it's the Twins story.
It's the Twins story, right? But they're not. The injuries right now don't seem to be as serious as they have been in years past. We've usually lost guys for the year at this point. Right now, it's just a rolled ankle, a sore shoulder, whatever. And if they can get right and the lineup gets consistent behind the pitching that they're being provided right now, a 20-win month for the Twins is not out of the question.
Not at all. And honestly, what I loved most about the Joe Ryan game is, so our pitching, right? So Joe Ryan, 7 innings pitched, allowed 1 earned, had 7 strikeouts. Amazing start. Then you bring in Jorge Lopez.
Yeah.
Who's one of the best, former closers in the MLB for the 8th inning.
Yeah.
And then you bring in Duran.
Good luck.
Dude, how are you putting up any runs on that that pitching roster, right?
It's stacking up. They might be looking. We might have to start speculating on trade moves at the break early. If they really want to go for
as of right now, you're buyers. 100%.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
And the only thing you're missing, the only thing that you are missing, and as good as some of the young guys look, is you need a guaranteed 280, 100 RBI, 30 home run guy. You talk franchise mode for Madden sometimes on the show. I'll go baseball. I have a franchise that I do at the Twins, and the only thing that made the difference between year 1 and year 2 is adding a guy like Rafael Devers. Now, obviously, he's not going to be what's available. Boston's not going to give that guy up. But if you can go get a true power hitter, even if he is aging a little bit, but the numbers are going to be there, that will make the difference.
To be honest, the name that popped into my head now, obviously he's retired and everything now, but if you could have got Carlos Beltran when he was kind of switching teams towards the end of his career, where he's still hitting 24, 25 home runs, that's the guy we need. The guy who's maybe 35, we can get a little cheaper, but he's still going to bang 25 in. Let's do it.
I mean, Gallo might hit 30 this year.
Go get another Gallo is kind of our point.
Yeah.
I wonder if the Dodgers will have an opening if that Outman, they're so deep, I guess I don't know their incentive, though, to trade. They're just so deep. But they have a rookie that came on and is hitting home runs like crazy. But,
oh, really?
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of anywhere to go, but it's really tough. But I want to ask you guys, because I haven't got to watch, my God, the pitcher who
Sonny
I really
Gray?
like. No.
Joe Ryan.
Joe Ryan. Okay, I haven't got to watch him in depth yet, but I subscribe to Pitching Ninja, these great pitching shows I really like. I've just watched him in dribs and drabs here.
Yeah.
I think he's fucking awesome, but I can't tell what he does. What is his superpower? Is it locating?
It's control. It's control.
It's his control.
All locating, yeah.
It's the control of his secondary pitches as well.
Because what's his fastball? 95? It's nothing.
It's 93, 94.
Yeah.
It's,
and his breaking stuff looks strong, but not amazing. So I'm God, does he have the stuff to keep this up throughout the year, or is he just hot?
From what I understand, if you don't mind, I'll take it. Yeah. It's pitch tunnel. So all the balls are coming down the same tunnel until they move, and then the location of the moving pitches, right? Mm-hmm. So he can put a slider that starts down the middle low, just like his fastball, and it will break off the plate type thing, right? So it'll look the same, and then they start their swing, and now they're reaching before it's too late. Or his curveball is what it is, right?
Yeah. And for me, honestly, I think a lot of it is consistency and effort. I would much rather you be really good all the time than be
great and then great and then
he is the best since he's come up from AAA. The guy has been really good in every start he's made.
Yeah.
You think back, have we ever sat on this show and gone, Joe Ryan got shelled yesterday? Right, never. No. Never.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw that one, Gabe.
Yeah,
that was a two-seamer at the knees and then breaks in, right?
Right. No, and I see it. I just, there's usually guys who are pitching this well. You see something where it kind of jumps off, but, I haven't been able to really do deep dives.
I think Nick is dead on. He's not overpowering by any means. He's just so consistently good
all the time.
That you can't. He's not going to leave you a curveball hanging.
No,
it's just not going to happen. If you eliminate those pitches.
He's in the Maddox, the Greg Maddox camp, sort of, right? Yeah,
100%.
Yep.
So, sorry, and then his personality, because he's also very even. It appears to me, right?
He's a workman. It's a lunch pail job for him.
Yeah,
he shows up. He shows up. You're going to get a quality start, 7 strikeouts, and he'll have 2 earned runs. That's Joe Ryan every 5 days. That's the best 2 in baseball.
Who's the number 1 starter on the team? If it's World Series Game 1, who do you send
right
up
now?
It's
Sonny Gray.
Right. Well,
he's going to let up the least amount of runs statistically, right?
So right now, statistically, he would. I would almost go Joe Ryan in Game 1 because you know what you're going to get, and it'll allow you to set the pace for the series. I would go Joe Ryan, but there's an argument to be made for Sonny Gray right now, and Pablo. Now Pablo. He's
technically the ace. That's the funny thing is we're not even talking about Pablo.
And he is the one more than anybody that is more likely to get shelled in an outing, and we've seen that once already this year. But he's got a little bit more peak to him as well. To where he could take the mound and go 9 shutout innings, 197 pitches, 12 strikeouts, 1 hit. Like,
so Pablo right now is sitting at 1-2, but his ERA is 3.0 even.
Yeah.
His WHIP is 1.03. So really good statistically. I think one of his losses was like a 1-0 loss, wasn't it?
Yep.
And then the other one was where he got shelled.
Yeah, in Miami.
Yeah.
So the Twins, massive upswings for the Twins.
Very last question on Joe Ryan, real quick.
Sure.
Is he wearing the mustache to be funny, or does he think it looks good?
I think he thinks it looks good.
With the flow. Yeah, that's his
flow.
that's
Flow
his
Ryan,
thing. Yep.
the Flow Ryan Express.
Okay.
I like it. All
right.
What do we got coming up for the Twins, Mikey?
Oh, that's a great question. You caught me lacking there.
Oh, I got him.
Actually, really quick. I want to ask this.
Yeah.
So I'm going to walk you through Pablo Lopez's 5 starts in order and tell me if there's cause for concern here.
Yeah.
Okay, so his opening day start, 5.1 innings pitched, 0 earned runs.
Sure.
His next start, 7 innings pitched, 1 earned run.
Yep.
A little bit better. 7.2, 2 earned runs. Then 6.0 innings pitched, 2 earned runs. So now he's going less.
Mm-hmm.
And then 4 innings pitched, 5 earned runs. So he's literally giving up more and more runs. But his innings pitched did this and then went back down.
Yeah. I think as a starter, you go through stretches,
highs and lows,
stretches where you either have your stuff or you don't.
Okay.
And then when you're monkeying with it as you're trying to fix it, which I'm sure he did after the first loss or that first not so great ball game, or what you were going to probably see him doing, especially after he got shelled, is now we're going to see him be, it's a mentality thing, aggressiveness versus painting corners, right? I think his thing is he needs to go after hitters. I think he got spooked a little bit in that effort where he does only give up 1 run over all those innings and he still doesn't get the victory, and then he feels like he has to control the game and instead of letting the game can come to him, because he's quality enough pitcher, and I think we'll see it change. I'm not concerned yet. If this trend continues where he starts to look like Chris Archer over the next couple of months, especially right after getting paid, then it would be cause for concern. But right now, I'm not too worried.
Fair enough. All right, so the next 7 games coming up. So we will see you guys again on the 4th.
Yes, sir.
But the White Sox game will be going on basically as we leave the studio. So we'll make our predictions, including that series, and we're going to do 2 because we get 2 teams, correct?
It's 2. Mike capitalized and got himself a 2 for 3 last week. Way to go, buddy.
That's what happens when you go positive every once in a while.
Tied the series up. Joey Gallo did add a home run. And what was your other one? Oh, Joe Ryan did not take a loss.
Yep. And you went Joe Ryan wins, which he did.
Well,
I think you missed out on the other 2, right?
I went Joe Ryan has 6 wins because I thought he was going to get 2 starts.
And one of them was
and he only got 1.
Okay.
So I lost a point there, but I did get the Twins ending their stretch against the Yankees with a positive win percentage. And then Jose Miranda, 3 for 5 on RBIs, was shut out. Was shut out at the plate pretty much during the Washington series. Was pretty close, but didn't quite get there. So 4-4 going into this week. You have honors, my friend. What will your predictions be?
Yeah, I'll go positive this week. So we win 4 of the 7 games.
Oh, I like that. And
Pablo Lopez in his next start pitches a quality start.
Ooh, that's 6 innings. Quality start.
6 innings or it's not technically 6 innings. It's 6 innings and 3 earned runs, or 7 innings and 4 earned runs, or 8 innings and 5 earned runs, technically.
Fair enough.
It's a quality start.
That's
what he'll get.
Fair enough. I've got Joey Gallo with 2 homers. And I'm going to go with 2 homers. And I am going to say that by the end of this, where are the Twins at in the standings right now? Can you let me know?
We're first right now in our division. Yeah, I can pull it up here really quick. I know we're 14-11. And I think we're 2 games up. 2 games up in our division. Guardians are 12-13. Everybody else is.
I will say at the end of this that the Twins have pushed their lead to 4 games or more.
Nice. Love it. Yeah, I mean, the Royals are 6-19. That's we have the next 4 games, and the White Sox are 7-18.
Just don't let Bobby Witt steal that entire series from you, because guess what? We went over it last week. That guy can do that.
They have a really strong core of rookies.
Yes,
in general.
they do.
Like they're
the Royals in like 3
scary.
years are going to be
they're going to be really good.
They're going to be the Rays.
All right. Well, I think that's all we have for the Twins. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all we have for Minnesota sports talk in general.
All right. Well, goodbye to the Minnesota sports audience and hello to the national sports audience. And first off, let's talk about our big national news. Gervonta Tank Davis versus King Ryan Garcia recap. To be honest, I was a little shocked about this one. I didn't think it was going to go that dominant one way. Thoughts?
As Gabe preps the graphic here, because we know he can't do those two things at once. We learned that last week. Tank's ring IQ, it's super... It surprised the living shit out of me. Like, Ryan's physical tools are incredibly overwhelming to just about any fighter. And there were even exchanges where you could see Gervonta go, all right, well, there's not just nothing I can do to get out of the way or block that specific punch or that specific exchange, because Ryan is incredibly talented. But man, he baited. Me and Gabe were watching the fight together, and he sat there and just baited Ryan in.
Well, and that's what I saw.
Both major exchanges.
If you have a 10-inch reach advantage,
yeah,
you don't get that close.
No.
Like, that's what I didn't understand is what the hell was Ryan Garcia thinking, giving him the ability to hit him with the tight hooks to the body that ended up being his downfall.
Yeah.
It's because he's been more talented than everyone else he's faced in his career.
So his strategy of the fight was just terrible because he was so confident.
Yeah, it was just
he's walked everybody down that he's faced.
And then you read things like that I've been reading that have bothered me a lot because I really like him as a fighter, and I think, as you said, his tools are visually there. I mean, he's so fast, man. It is really, and even like his power, you can it looks like it's. I mean, he's putting it together, right?
Yeah.
And my hope for this is my back of the mind thing that I didn't say out loud because I know how, whatever, idealistic it sounds. But to me, I thought he's poised to do, this is like Ali Liston. You know, like he was calling out the guy he was calling out the boogeyman. He was confident. He was big. I believed he saw something just like Ali did with the Liston fight. He saw something that he had that he could beat him with. And that's what I was hoping this would be.
Yep.
And man, Tank, we commented on it during the fight. He was smiling, like you could see it visually, like what he was doing. You could see the traps were obvious. I saw an interview with Goosen that really bothered me.
Yeah, and we talked about that one before the show.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it's real. He said, he talks about you don't train Ryan Garcia. He has his own ideas. He's very intelligent. He's whatever. He says you partner with him. And I mean, it was a very clear sidestep. Like he was putting some distance between himself and Garcia and trying to communicate that. He was doing it positively because he wants the paycheck. But I think that Garcia, hopefully he gets really humbled by this. And I hope that he starts listening to a trainer because his strategy was shit. His game plan went out the window after the knockdown.
Yeah.
Loved how he responded to the knockdown.
Yes.
Got up. Feet were under him, got right back in Davis's. He was not afraid. He believes in himself.
And even on the body shot, right, when he goes down, and you I don't know, you kind of made a comment about it when we were watching the fight, but you could see it. He even did the smart thing when he took the body shot, knowing that those take a little bit longer to recover from, where he was waiting the count out, and his attempt was to get up at 9, and his body just wouldn't go. So even his fight IQ did not escape him when he was in serious trouble.
Yeah.
Right? His body just didn't react. And I think that has a lot to do with him fighting at 135, which he can't go back there.
Yeah.
He cannot go back to 135.
So he cannot, he's got to throw something else other than a left hook. He's got to get some dimensions to his game, man. He had no defense. It really was hard to watch as far as that goes because there was a big fucking gap between those two. He has amazing tools. But
it was a surprisingly large.
I didn't know Tank was that good.
The influence of Money Mayweather on Tank, because Floyd Mayweather to me may not have been the best boxer over that time, but his strategy, he truly treated boxing as a sport more than anybody else, and made sure I'm going to get my points, I'm going to get my decision. I don't care about anything else.
Do you want to know how deep the Team Mayweather thing works for Tank? This is how I actually found this stuff out too. So there was an issue because they were the main promoter, they have the front on it, so they get to choose seats, right?
Yeah.
So they buried De La Hoya and Hopkins behind their camp So, because apparently for fighters, that's a thing. Like sometimes between rounds, you look for people to get support.
Yep.
And they were those people who kind of will coach from the side. Mm-hmm. They buried them. They put them behind a really hostile crowd. Or, basically their team. Every little bit of this, they're sending their spies. Like, they attack you, and they are fucking savvy. They've been around boxing for too long, and they have as much knowledge as anyone.
Floyd perfected how to be who Floyd was. And now all you have to do is insert semi-talented fighter here and run that play over and over and over again. And the competitive advantage that they create is astonishing. Right. Whether it's how they negotiate their contracts, how they go to other fighters into fights at certain times, like Ryan very obviously should have taken the warm-up fight or the tomato can before this with another left-handed power puncher, counter puncher, low output type guy, something like that. But they baited him into getting to this fight. Now, like, Floyd's team has it ironed up. I will give all the credit.
Well, what about the strategy in the ring itself?
Here's what I will say. I saw growth in Ryan even between rounds 1 and round 7 when he got knocked out. Started with the jab and the hook and then kind of went away from it and was only walking forward until he got knocked down the first time. Then he gets back up and we started to see, okay, I can get the right hand in. And we didn't see him walking forward quite as much, right? We saw instances where he'd get to Tank or kind of cut the ring off and then they'd stop and exchange. For me, my only hope for Ryan Garcia would be that Ryan Garcia treats this fight against Tank Davis the same way that Canelo Alvarez treated his fight against Floyd Mayweather. This is the one loss. You better do everything in your power to make sure that you got the rub off this fight to propel the rest of your career. Understand that the language that the guy that you in the ring faced was a completely different one than you currently know how to speak, and now it's your job to go learn how to speak it. If I'm Ryan, I'm evaluating all my coaches, my nutritionists. I'm evaluating my camp. I'm evaluating where I'm living, what types of things I'm intaking. I'm taking a year off from boxing. I'm evaluating everything, and I'm not coming back until it's at a different weight class. I'm probably going to 145, and I have made sure that every single piece around me, I would, even if I'm Ryan, I'm moving away from De La Hoya.
So I think he should sign with Mayweather. And I think that like that's where he needs to go if he wants to be elite. Floyd would not Floyd, Rodgers, all those, they would not allow him to be what he's being. Like, he wouldn't get to be a diva like that. Hearn will absolutely allow that. I don't believe he should go take a year off. I think he needs to be active at this point in his career.
To me, it's get right back into the ring as fast as possible.
Yeah, and maybe not as fast as possible. But
the thing is he's been exposed now. So the only fighters that are, like, when you fight him, guess what? Everybody that fights him is going to go, okay, let's see if you can fight on your back foot. Or let's see if, if you stay aggressive, all I've got to do is hit you with that liver shot. Or I've got to get you to run it, because Luke Campbell got the same thing. He needs to develop before he shows his face at all again. Because the risk of him losing a second fight now to a guy that's nowhere near Tank's level would plummet his value.
That would plummet, but I think they can pick the right guys. But yeah, I mean, he needs serious change, obviously.
Very
I
serious.
Hope he sees that, but we'll see.
So
I do love that he found the right hand later in the fight.
So Tank was clearly head and shoulders from the opening bell.
Yes.
Okay.
Do I think it's a different fight at 140? Do I think it's a much different fight at 145? Yes. But just because of Garcia's ability to add strength and the law of diminishing returns for a guy of Tank size to put on size like that, and his ability to weather the storm against Tank's power at what would be Ryan's more natural weight class. He's a 145-pound fighter. 136, he's too thin. That's why that body shot hurt him. It wasn't like he landed it with any type of unbelievable force. It was in close, and it was like a little shuttle shot.
The best take I saw on that is that it was because his jab was extended and you exhale. So it was like just a pure, there's a lot of luck involved there as far as the timing goes. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I loved when he came out roughing him up. That was phenomenal. Yeah. We've never seen him do that. That was great. So I mean, there were positives. It's just he's got to be humble, and I'm worried that he's going to not do, because I've heard a couple things he said where they said, "Oh, is Tank the best lightweight?" And it's like, he's like trying to whatever, and I'm like, dude, just hand it to him.
So Ryan walks around at 151 to 155. That's tough. That's a 20 pound.
No, it's a big cut.
That's a That's.
He's a 145-pound fighter, man.
Shit, that's an eighth of his body weight.
He should be. We should all be saluting the fuck out of him that he
got down there
to make the fight happen. That he took the risk. It didn't work out, but it's like he made more money than he'll probably make the rest or whatever that he could have made in 10 fights.
Yep. And here's what it is, right? So the question was, is this going to be the rebirth of the super fight? 1.2 million pay-per-view buys, and you have to assume with streaming that there was probably about 2 million eyeballs on this thing. Did they accomplish their goal?
Well, yes.
I think they did.
I don't think it was good for, I think it sucks because we talk about the era of the super fight that we all want to happen.
Yeah.
And we got Bud Crawford and Errol Spence coming up.
Yep.
And that is going to be much more of a 50-50 fight than this. And I'm excited for that. But that is what sucks is I feel like Ryan is out of that decision. Because even where I want him to be active, my plan would be that he fights 2 or, maybe 2 or 3 in a row that are below his level, that are handpicked.
Well, yeah, you don't put him right back into a super fight at all. Right. If you want to even address, and I said this before, my whole point in him going to 145 is, and I told you this the night of the fight, you have, because Tank is going to be the A side because he's got a victory over you, unless you have something that he wants. Ryan needs to go collect belts in a division that Tank is not currently in, reboost his stock, and then go, come on up. I'll put all my belts on the line. Come on up to 145 and fight me, and then you have a fair fight. That is the only way to do it now.
I don't think he'll ever see Tank again.
Yeah, I would have to agree with Gabe. With that, let us know what you guys thought about the Tank Davis and the King Ryan Garcia fight this past weekend. What happens next with these two fighters? NFL news.
Let's do it.
Chase Young
declined a 5th-year option, and now I, ignorantly, kind of was like, Chase Young, bro, how are you not going to pick up the 5th-year option on Chase Young? Like, that guy's the dude. He's the savior of the Commanders' defense, and he's with Ron Rivera. And then you said, Mike, how many games? How many sacks?
Chase Young has played 27 career games. He has 9 total sacks.
In 4 years. That's bad, ladies and gentlemen. Bad. Hype job. Bad. Jadeveon Clowney reference inserted here. Bad. Do you think
Bust
bad if he doesn't turn it around this year? What do you think his future actually looks like?
Well, we did say that we both agree that he has the physical tools.
Yeah, every physical tool in the book.
I don't know, man. Honestly, the whole Washington D-line fits into this conversation because if you
Darren Payne,
take a look at them,
Jonathan Allen,
they're ridiculous individuals. So they should all be pretty much facing one-on-ones.
Yeah.
Like Chase Young isn't the best defense lineman on that D-line to the point that he's facing double and triple teams.
No.
However, Washington D-line hasn't played as well as they're supposed to. Insert Chase Young here. Mm-hmm. To be honest, it's a prove it deal, like you said, right? It's can he perform this year? And to me, he's going to need to basically play better than his best ever year, which was his rookie year, and that was 7.5 sacks. He's going to have to hit 8 or 9 to even be in a conversation to stay in Washington, in my opinion.
So this does kind of open him up to be moved.
Sure.
Let's kind of tie this back to the Vikings. Is it somebody you potentially take a swing on with a guy like Za'Darius wanting to leave, with Danielle Hunter's contract situation? You kind of took a swing on Davenport. Would it be worth it to take a swing on a prove-it type thing with Chase Young?
Possibly. I was actually just going to look at what Marcus Davenport has done statistically and just see how terrible he...
I think he's got 17 sacks or something like that, 19 sacks.
Let's check. So he has 63 games played. Where's sacks? 21.5. So roughly statistically about the same. About 1 sack every 3 games.
Yeah.
You got the same guy. Why would you need him?
Because of his, you think because of the upside, right?
But Marcus Davenport, dude, is physically, he's very similar to Danielle Hunter. He's very similar to Chase Young. They're 6'5", they're 260, and can fly.
Yeah.
Marcus Davenport physically looks like Chase Young. He does.
Fair enough.
So, and who's the other guy? We brought in another edge.
Oh, no, it's an interior, Leary or whatever from Dean whoever.
Dean Lowry is
from Green Bay.
A true D end. But I thought we brought in another edge, too, didn't we?
I do not believe so.
then maybe it's Za'Darius leaving and you got Daniil and Marcus. But I don't think we're gonna bring in like a Chase Young or
just a question.
Like
I mean, just a thought, right? He's the potential is there, and if you are one of the Kwesi, obviously buy low, sell high kind guys, you see that a 5th-year option get turned down on a potential number 2 overall pick if you can get him for pennies. I mean, you saw it. For me, look at what just happened to Jeff Okudah.
Yeah, I mean,
Jeff Okudah for a 5th.
I would give up a 6th for him. Yeah, but I don't think Washington would do that.
You know what I mean? So but it doesn't need. Could you go? Hey, I understand. I only have Za'Darius at $13 million for 1 more year, regardless, because he doesn't want to be in Minnesota. Can I get Chase Young? Can Chase Young prove it? And can we extend him? And
so
you know what I mean?
Za'Darius in a 6th or something, maybe.
Sure. See what I'm saying? Yeah. So, yeah, I didn't realize how bad he was. And speaking of, from terrible players to terrible decisions, the Jets finalized their trade with the Green Bay Packers and overpaid like the Wolves over. I mean, Tim Conley must have orchestrated this deal because they paid way too much for Aaron Rodgers. Get a ring. Why don't you go ahead and break down the value for me, Mike?
So the Jets get Aaron Rodgers. They also get the Packers pick number 15 in this year's draft.
Yep.
A 2023 5th-round pick as well.
Mm-hmm.
The Packers get pick number 13, so the Jets pick this year. A 2023 2nd-round pick. A 2023 6th-round pick. A conditional 2024 2nd-round pick that becomes a first if Rodgers plays 65% of the snaps, which he will.
He will.
So you're looking at a 2023 first, a 2024 first, a 2023 second, and a 2023 6th. For Rodgers, another pick. To me, it seems actually pretty reasonable, if I'm being honest with you. They did a pick swap this year to move up 2 picks. They got a 2nd, a 6th, and a 1st next year for a Hall of Fame quarterback.
Are they getting a Hall of Fame quarterback, or are they getting what's left of a Hall of Fame quarterback with an attitude issue, commitment issues, and locker room issues?
Great question. And I'm not going to tell you which one I think is going to happen, but there's 2 roads that this can go down.
Oh, yeah.
1, the Jets will win the Super Bowl, period.
Sure.
Like, flat out, if they do well, they're winning the Super Bowl. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Roster-wise, that's a ridiculous freaking team.
Sure.
2, Aaron Rodgers gets hurt about week 8. New York is the toughest place to play in. They turn on him, and Aaron Rodgers ends up in purple and gold.
Okay. How about 3?
Nope.
Which is Aaron Rodgers.
Just the 2.
Aaron Rodgers continues to regress like Aaron Rodgers did with a brand new offense or brand new weapons like he did in Green Bay last year, and a young, talented defense, and maybe a little bit of an underwhelming head coach, and he has a average statistical season and makes more media headlines than he actually wins games. Let's take a look at who Aaron Rodgers really is, because he hasn't been back to the Super Bowl in 12 years. Aaron Rodgers' playoff record since he was back to the Super Bowl, 7 wins, 9 losses. Mm-hmm. The wins that he has, by the way, a couple of them, fluke-style wins, right?
Hail Marys, yeah.
So realistically, his record is more like what? 5 and 11 in the playoffs. And let's also keep in mind, a lot of those playoff games he has had at home. What was one of the biggest contributors, even when he had Devontae Adams, to Aaron Rodgers playing in the playoffs at home late in the year? His inability to really operate that offense, the offense that he wants to run effectively in cold weather. New York is no better than Green Bay. So you throw all of those things together, and I think the Jets vastly overpaid, and then the argument becomes the roster is so dominant, the head coaching is there. Gabe, why don't you flip the graphic for me here, and I'll show you exactly what the Jets paid for. At best, the Jets paid to be the 4th best team in the AFC. If you were to break it down into quarterbacks, offensive line, coaching, weapons, and defense, you can list off 4 teams. The Chargers, who have better quarterback play.
No, they don't.
From a talent perspective, yes, they do.
Aaron Rodgers is the most talented quarterback in the league behind Patrick Mahomes.
No, I don't. I think that listen,
Justin Herbert is not better than Aaron Rodgers.
He's been playing in a weak division for the last 6 years. The only people he's had to compete with is the Vikings, and Aaron Rodgers still gives up road games to the Lions.
I know, but comparing Justin Herbert to Aaron Rodgers is laughable, bud.
Okay.
I'll give you Mahomes and Allen. I will. And Burrow. 100%. I won't give you Herbert on that one. I'm sorry.
I'm going to tell you right now, health-wise, because even when the Chargers were healthy at the end of the year last year, the Chargers' offensive line is better than what the New York Jets have put forward, and the New York Jets have an injury problem.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. Kansas City's O-line, it's on paper better, but it didn't perform that much better last year. It didn't.
Results are what matters. And guess what?
You
Kansas
had
City
the
gets
result
them.
you did because you had number 15. Let's not get it twisted.
Kansas City gets them, right? Go ahead. What's up, Gabe?
Yeah, I guess I'm confused because I know you as one person, and now it seems like you're acting like another because why do we play these games?
Oh, Nick's afraid to win.
To win championships, right? And for them to win a Super Bowl, were they even close without hit? Like, yeah, you got to roll the dice. You don't know what you're getting exactly.
Sure.
But, I mean, honestly, would they win it without him?
Could you win it with Kirk Cousins in that roster? Yes, you could.
Okay, but was he available?
He could have been.
Yeah, that's technically true.
He could have been.
But here's the thing. Do you make that trade to trade up to number 2 to take a rookie or to get Aaron Rodgers?
If your team is stacked and ready right now, I do Rodgers too.
Okay, but I think in a vacuum, you look at his talent. Like, I get it, guys. Aaron Rodgers' talent, like Mike said, is second only arm talent-wise to Patrick Mahomes, and from a stat sheet-wise,
it might even be arm talent-wise better, but Mahomes has the athletic ability and stuff.
Sure. And even like stat sheet and resume wise, we're talking like Brady, Manning.
First ballot Hall of Famer. Yeah, let's not get it twisted.
What detracts so greatly from his is when that guy walks into the locker room, you have no idea of if he's going to be the problem by himself or if he is going to infect everyone else in that locker room. Why do you think Davante Adams, the best receiver in the league, wanted to leave? Why do you think Zadarius Smith wanted out? Why do you think Randall?
I don't think you're wrong.
Is there smoke on that about Davante Adams and him? Like,
There's no way you look at that.
Davante came out and said he wanted to go play with Derek Carr.
Okay.
And when he says that, he's also saying, I don't want to play with Rodgers anymore. Right?
Sure.
If we wind the clock back on that, Gabe, the situation went like this. Both of those guys were pretty much up for contract, right? They franchise tagged Davante Adams. Davante Adams says, I'm going to wait to sign this until they figure out what they do with Aaron Rodgers. They then agreed to pay Aaron Rodgers $60 million on the promise that they were going to have Davante Adams there to sign that franchise tag. And then the minute that they signed the Aaron deal, Davante said, I want out of Green Bay, trade me, and he went to Las Vegas. He baited Aaron into signing that deal to leave him so he didn't have to play with him. And you think that's the guy that's going to show up in a locker room full of young talent with an unsteady head coach a la Chris Finch and carry them to the Super Bowl?
The young talent is young enough and the generational gap
I think it's a perfect
different
thing.
enough that they will be looking up to him. He can be smoking ayahuasca in his locker and they'd be like, dude, you see Rodgers doing the thing before practice? Like, that's what it's going to be like. It's not going to be veterans that are butting heads with him. It's going to be a young roster that looks, we have a 36-year-old quarterback that can lead us to the promised land. Let's do anything he wants. Like, Rodgers wants to go bowling on Wednesday night. Let's go bowling. Like, that's what it's going to be like.
Situation.
He may have been some of the toxicity.
For sure.
However, that toxicity goes back to before Matt LaFleur. It goes back to Mike McCarthy. It goes back a long way. And I don't think Rodgers ever really appreciated being in Green Bay because he didn't want to go there when he was drafted there.
And sure. But
the last thing I want to hit, and then I'll let you retort. Robert Saleh isn't Chris Finch. Saleh is the dude who will frickin' yell at you. And honestly,
I think you think that's going to work with Aaron?
I think he will run a tighter ship than what Matt LaFleur ran.
I do.
And that's
agree.
why I can see New York turning on Rodgers because Saleh will try to keep him in line. And if Rodgers doesn't,
100%. I agree with you. I think Saleh is that guy. But do you think that guy is who Aaron Rodgers is going to gel well with? There's a reason they went out and got milquetoast Matt LaFleur.
No, I get it. But I also think Aaron Rodgers, as crazy as I truly believe he is off his rocker. But he is a very intelligent human being.
He's not off his rocker. He is a fucking weird guy, but whatever, that's good.
Most people that are at this level of their profession are a little crazy, right?
Most people are that intelligent too.
Yeah. And he is very intelligent. Don't get it twisted.
Sure.
And he thought about every move that he could have retired and walked into the sunset as one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play the game, period.
You're right.
That's what I was going to say.
$60 million is a lot to walk away from, but there are little things.
He doesn't give a shit. That's I would
Okay.
think.
I'm sorry, but when you have other pro athletes on television going, listen, I get it. I know that we make a lot of money here, but to walk away from $60 million is ridiculous. He came out of his darkness retreat 95% sure he was going to retire until the Jets showed up and said, "Hey, we'll take you and your egregious contract on." So like let's put some perspective on this. Aaron showed up for the money. The opportunity is the icing on the cake. Now, if I'm the Jets, there's two things that concern me right away. One, which is why not
You actually put Brandon Staley ahead of him as a coach, though, too?
I think coaching staff, not just coaches a whole, coaching staff.
Maybe.
Coaching staff. The other thing that concerns me is Aaron Rodgers has historically worn what number?
12.
What number is retired for the Jets and why?
12. Namath.
Okay. Did Peyton not have a Bronco unretire a number? Has that situation not been the thing when you get the right? I think Aaron Rodgers
Who unretired their number in Denver?
I'd have to look up the name. They were talking about it on the radio this morning. My point to this is Aaron Rodgers is already ducking potential criticisms by not calling Namath, who has already openly said he would have given him the number when he landed in New York, and gone, I'll take on 12 because that's additional pressure. He's not here to win games. He's here to get paid. And if I'm the Jets, I apologize to my fan base because what you've done is you have put all of that young talent that you have put together over the last 3 years at risk by bringing this cancer into your locker room. Like you've sacrificed potentially a 5-year window, a 6, a 7-year window with some of these guys for a 2-year run at best.
What did you brought up the numbers thing, right?
Yes.
But you're I guess to me you said that as if it was a negative thing that he didn't take Joe Namath's number.
Joe Namath openly offered it to him. The same way that when greats come in.
And how are you interpreting that as a negative?
He does not want to step into the media wearing 12 after a loss and hear Joe Namath comparisons. No he doesn't want to hear it. He doesn't.
That's a classy thing to do.
No,
that he did.
Fuck that. Absolutely not.
Rodgers, however, declined the offer in deference to Namath.
I have the quote.
He wants 12 to be Joe Namath.
The quote is, to me, 12 is Broadway Joe, so I don't want to go down that path, and I'm excited about going back to my college number.
Joe Namath was touched that Aaron Rodgers decided not to wear number 12.
I'm glad that's
so
the
way. To me, it sounds like Joe Namath did the right thing by offering the number, and then Aaron Rodgers actually did the right thing by saying thanks, but no, that's your number.
Correct.
To me, he's
humble.
He's ducking pressure.
This whole time you've been talking about how he's not humble, how he's such a toxic thing. There's his first move to show that he's.
I think that's the right move, 100%. I got to agree with Gabe.
Leopards do not change their spots overnight, folks. I'm sorry. It may kill a sheep and dance around in some wool for a while, but it's still a fucking leopard. Aaron Rodgers has not changed.
And leopards MVPs. Also don't kill that many.
The leopard won a Super Bowl over a decade ago.
So
when was Peyton's last Super Bowl when he made the big move to Denver?
8, 9 years, maybe.
See my point? It was a decade, probably.
I get it.
Trust me, Aaron Rodgers can win a Super Bowl tomorrow. He is talented enough.
I think
by far.
He is a perfect candidate to step into for a fresh start.
Yeah.
People do thrive in those situations at times. I'm not saying they're going to win a Super Bowl, but I think that it gives them a chance. And if I'm the Jets, what do you – I mean, who was their starter?
Zach Wilson.
Or Mike White, or this guy, or that guy. They had 4 different starters this past year.
They have every other position figured out other than the quarterback position. My point being, I don't know why you look to Aaron Rodgers to be the fixture of that. He's a Band-Aid.
They know that. He's a 1 to 2 year Band-Aid to try to win a ring. And then hopefully, dude, if I'm the Jets, I'm actually drafting a quarterback probably this year.
Yeah.
What's the over-under on Jen Sturger getting another dick pic? Just him following in Favre's footsteps like that.
Pretty good, probably.
Dude, the statistical craziness between Rodgers and Favre's career, like there's like 6 or 7 statistical anomalies that are like, they both finished 2 of 6 on their last 6 passes. They both finished with losses at Lambeau. They both won 1 ring in like 15 exact years. They both won 2 MVPs. They both went to New York after their 15th year, after their round 1 successor was going to replace them. Like it's it's freaking insane that, to me, Rodgers might just end up in purple and gold.
No, and I don't want it.
I would not be shocked at all either.
I don't want
I think
it.
It'd be good.
God, you guys are killing me today.
Dude, okay. Kirk Cousins' contract is up. We don't draft a quarterback this year, and then Rodgers retires and comes out. There's a plane that lands in Minneapolis in August.
Stop.
And Aaron Rodgers walks out.
Stop.
And you got
and then
KOC shaking his hand right there.
I don't want it. I don't know how.
Brett
Brett.
It would. Brett was it was fun to root for Brett. It's not fun to root for Rodgers. I will agree with you 100%. However, if you ask me who do I want to start game 1 this year for the Vikings, Kirk Cousins or Aaron Rodgers, I would say Aaron Rodgers. He's a better quarterback, Nick.
Awesome. He's great to have in game 1. You know what he's also, when he's not great to have? Round 1 of the playoffs after he gets a bye.
Oh, really? What's Kirk doing in round 1 of the playoffs? He's 0-1 in the last 5 years, or 0-2.
Okay, so double your cap hit, continue to hinder your team and wind up with the same result?
He's 1-2. He's 1-2 in the last 5 years.
I think it's hilarious. You guys act like you wouldn't root for Aaron Rodgers.
I would not.
I'd root for the Vikings. It'd be tough to I wouldn't buy like a Rodgers jersey like I did buy a Favre jersey.
If there's
the support level would be different, but
yeah, if there's one thing that Favre taught us, it's just what a bunch of selfish whores we all are as fans. I hated Favre. I wanted John Randall to break his neck every game. Like, I hated him. Second he came here, it was just great. Mm-hmm.
See, I never rooted for Favre to you
didn't after that San Francisco game when he threw that insane touchdown?
Oh yeah. I was all in.
No. I was saying I'd never personally rooted for Favre to actually get injured when he was playing for the Packers. I enjoyed those Packer-Viking games so much when I was growing up that I just wanted a tight game. We had a prolific offense with Moss, Carter, and Reed. I wanted to see 45-42. I didn't want to see Favre get hurt. I wanted to see Rodgers die on the field. When Anthony Barr hurt him,
his collarbone,
I cheered. I legitimately cheered because I did not. I do not like the person, nor do I like the team that he plays for. Favre,
I liked as a person.
He makes mistakes, but he plays the game the right way, like a freaking kid who loves being out there. That is fun to root for.
Listen to John Madden all over again. Yeah. I actually wanted John Randall to pull out a butcher knife and stab him on the field. For real. I couldn't hate
Jay
him
Cutler, yeah, I'd agree with you there, too.
Oh, I don't even care enough about him to have that, yeah. But yes.
All right, well, you give me what you think the expectations. Let's go ahead. And I'm not going to let you move this field goal post. We'll check in on it. Since you think Aaron Rodgers is the right thing for the Jets.
I think if the Jets make the playoffs, they win the Super Bowl. If the Jets miss the playoffs, Rodgers only lasts. Do you want my prediction or not?
Yeah,
okay, so if the Jets make the playoffs, they win the Super Bowl. If they miss the playoffs, Rodgers gets only 1 year in New York. That's my prediction.
You know what I just thought of? Also, just really quick. I know we're trying to move on. You know what he does to that young Jets team is gives them fucking belief. They have a legend with him now. If he comes in the right frame of mind and the right start, I can absolutely see them riding that wave. I mean, really, that belief that, oh, shit, it's on now.
We can win any game we play, right? They legitimately can beat any team in the NFL right now.
Yeah. And I think just that
They may not be favorites, but they can beat the Chiefs tomorrow.
Sure. Let alone financially for your fan base. How many jerseys you're selling now and all that stuff.
Tickets.
Yeah.
Sure.
I don't hate on the business decision.
Yeah.
It doesn't help them in 5 years. I agree with you entirely. But they could have a ring in 5 years and be back to the New York Jets.
That's the problem, though. That's what the Jets have done.
But they're always going to be the Jets, so you might as well try to steal a ring.
Fair enough.
I would do the same thing as the Vikings. We're always going to be the Vikings. Steal one of these years. Please, God.
That's right. Exactly. Do whatever it takes.
With that, let's transition to our NFL draft talk. So, again, national-wise, we're going to go through the entire NFL draft. I have 5 would you rathers or what's more likely's actually.
Sure.
What's more likely for the NFL draft for Nick?
Let's do it.
And Gabe, if you'd like to chime in on any of these, feel free, okay?
Okay.
What's more likely, Bryce Young or CJ Stroud first overall? And why?
As much as I like Bryce Young, I think
really cool graphic, by the way, Nick.
Thank you. I appreciate that. The one thing that I do believe nobody is paying close enough attention to is kind of what I mentioned with the Trae Young conversation the other day, and that's Bryce Young's likelihood to fall in this draft on physical stature alone. Look at what Tua is going through right now. Mm-hmm. Look at how long it took Kyler Murray to have a season-ending injury. I don't care what his arm talent is. I don't care how well he absorbs a game plan. I don't care.
There are other smaller quarterbacks that have done it, but it's been a while. To be honest, the first one that popped into my head was Doug Flutie. God, that was the 80s.
Yes. His stature concerns me so much. And if you look at the type of guys that Frank Reich likes to have around him, Carson Wentz, Andrew Luck, like that.
It's technically an Anthony Richardson prototype, but I don't think that they traded up for Richardson.
But you look at that game in Georgia,
right,
with CJ Stroud, and you go, That guy.
Okay,
So
and that's what I think
C.J.
too.
Stroud at number one.
That's what I think. I think they traded up for C.J. Stroud as well.
Yes.
I've been seeing a lot of mock drafts with Anthony Richardson going to him as the number one overall, and I'm sorry, but they didn't make that trade for Anthony Richardson.
Smoke and mirror season, folks.
Yeah, 100%. Number 2, DeMeco Ryans and the Texans.
Let's go.
Do they take the QB of the future or a defensive-minded head coach goes defense, a la Will Anderson Jr. from Alabama?
I think it's more likely that they take the defensive guy. I also think there's a caveat to this, and there might be a trade in there.
If they take, I just want to say one sentence. If they take the defensive guy, he becomes the next J.J. Watt, a dominant defensive player on a poor team.
Absolutely. I mean, whether it's Carter, whether it's Will Anderson, whether it's...
If you draft that guy, he will be dominant for you, and you will win 5 games.
Absolutely. No, I would agree with you, and that's why I think the likelihood as we approach the draft, I hear more and more. So at first it was, the Texans are going to take quarterback. They're going to take quarterback. They're going to take quarterback. Well, now they're looking at defenders. And then all of a sudden, over the last 4 or 5 days, what are we hearing?
Trade back.
Multiple teams have been in conversations with Houston to trade back. I think they're realizing that they're not going to get number 2 pick value here, and they're trying not to make the same mistakes that they last regime made.
Yeah, and what I think another option for them to do is accept the fate of taking the best player available, which might be Will Anderson Jr. at 2,
sure,
or Jalen Carter if you want to make that argument.
Yep.
Going 5-11 next year, accepting that fate tonight on draft night, saying we're going to go this route. We know right now we're going to go 5-12, not 5-11. I apologize. There are 17 games in the NFL season. They're going to go 5-12, and then we're in the Caleb Williams sweepstakes.
Bingo.
And I think that might be actually the most likely move that they do.
Absolutely.
I think that they might go defense, accept the fate that Davis Mills is going to provide them this year, and say, we want Caleb Williams.
Yeah, no, I would agree, because he's going to be at the top of everybody's draft board come next year.
All right. Number 3 for our Would You Rather. I thought that was a really good breakdown, by the way. Good job. Anthony Richardson goes top 10 or not at all in the first round.
I think it's way more likely that he goes top 10.
And he's going to be a bust. I'm telling y'all, folks, right now, if he goes top 10, he's Malik Willis of this year.
I see the comparisons. Anthony Richardson should, storybook for his career to go perfectly, is land with a team that is well suited. I think Baltimore, I think Miami, I think Tampa, I think Seattle, I think even Pittsburgh potentially, or you know what I mean?
I think they're set on Pickett.
A team with a real good, just infrastructure in general, right?
I think, to be honest, Nick, the best fit for him scheme-wise is Baltimore.
Yeah.
It 100% is Baltimore. They don't have to switch their scheme at all.
Correct.
You just slide in
bigger, but
Lamar.
they got rid of Greg Roman, so that's the caveat to that decision right there.
But they know the offense.
True.
Come on.
True.
Right?
So, I
think it's more likely he goes top 10, though?
I think it's more likely that he goes top 10. I think you look at Atlanta at 8. If he gets to Atlanta at 8,
I think they like Ritter, though, don't they?
But it's hard not to make that. It's hard not to pull the trigger on that.
I think if he hits Atlanta at 8, Atlanta's getting traded.
Oh, I would agree. Well, there's also opportunities.
They do like Ritter.
Let's look at if Jalen Carter goes at 5. If Jalen Carter goes at 5 to Seattle or goes at 3 or whatever, all of a sudden you're looking at the Lions, who, I don't know, are they super sold on Jared? They could trade back. So
you know what the Lions are going to do, right? The Lions are going to take Jalen Carter at 6.
Yeah,
and then they're going to take some other defensive end.
Yep.
At 18,
and they're going to have
the best defensive line in the NFL that we have to face for the next 10 years.
Absolutely. I would totally agree with you there. But I think just so at 10, it's really hard. It's hard for him to get past 10 because of the teams that will be vying for him to get up. He's just rolling through the picks as we talk about him.
I know, but where's 10?
We're just at 1 o'clock already. So
yeah,
we got a ways to go.
Worries.
So yeah, I was just.
I think you get to 10, you get to 11. It's just hard for him to fall past that point because of the teams that'll be willing to get into 10 to take him.
All right, let's. I apologize, I didn't notice the time. We're gonna hit fast forward on basically the rest of the show. Then
let's do it.
4 QBs in top 10 or 5 in the first round.
Neither.
So 4 QBs in the top 10 would be Will Levis, Anthony Richardson, Stroud, and Young.
Okay.
5 QBs in the first round would be those 4 and Hooker. What's more likely?
I think that's more likely because somebody's going to want 5th-year control on Hendon Hooker.
Fair enough. Number 5, Vikings trade up to top 10 or 11, or trade back out of first round. A lot of people have us at 11 taking Levis.
I do think that there's a great opportunity there for them to trade up if anybody slips. Like if any player of value on Kwesi's board starts to slide, look for them to trade up. If nobody slides, more likely that we don't draft to pick anything tonight.
Fair enough. And that's our NFL draft. What's more likely segment?
Ding, 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 ding. Let's run through NBA.
Yeah, we got to run through NBA. So Western Conference, for the series that are still alive, we have the Lakers and Grizzlies, and the Lakers are up 3-2. That's the 7 seed over the 2 seed. And then we have the 3-6 series, the Kings and Warriors, and the 6 seed there as well is up 3-2. So you have the 6 and 7 seed leading the 3-2 with 2 games to play. Thoughts?
What is my biggest critique of LeBron James always? And what thing that he lacks?
His hairline.
Well, that too. In his actual basketball game.
I'm not sure.
Clutch.
Ooh, okay.
His ability to show up when it matters. And last night, he had the opportunity to put the Grizzlies away. And he missed. I think they're going to wind up losing this series now, and nobody's talking about it.
What about the Warriors? Go into Sacramento and win a pivotal Game 5.
With De'Aaron Fox injured, which, by the way, I mean,
he played, but he's not himself with the broken finger, right?
The Golden State Warriors have to have the luckiest string of injuries. I don't know. I shared that TikTok with you guys where it's Chris Paul with the hamstring, and then now it's the finger with Fox, and at one point it was...
And you can't control what happens to your opponents, but we can critique you for it.
Yeah, and so like for them to have a dynasty, I get it, but it seems like every time they've kind of run into the proverbial glass ceiling, it cracks.
And I got to say, if the Warriors get by the Kings... matchup with the Lakers favors the Warriors severely because of the speed. So Eastern Conference, there's only one series still alive, and that thing is pretty much put to bed. Celtics-Hawks. Celtics lead 3-2. There's no freaking way the Hawks win 2 in a row. So they might win Game 6, but the Celtics are going to win that thing. So let's do a quick preview for round 2. So you have Nuggets-Suns.
Unfortunately, I think they're going to get swept.
Who?
The Nuggets here. I like Murray. I think Jokic is great. But you want to talk about an aggressive big man that's going to be able to get in the grill of Nikola Jokic? DeAndre Ayton is a great defensive true center.
I agree with you there, but Jokic is also probably the best center in the league.
I would totally agree.
I think that's a great matchup. I think I agree with you that Suns are probably going to pull it out, but I'm going to say 6 or 7. I'm not going to say 4.
I would go 5 games at most. Maybe the Nuggets steal 1. But I don't know defensively. I know you've got Michael Porter Jr. I know that you've got
Aaron Gordon.
Who even still?
Michael Porter Jr. and Aaron Gordon both themselves could be ones on like different. Aaron Gordon was a 1 in Orlando. Let's not forget.
And guess what? They're great offensively. Who's going to guard Durant?
Jokic probably.
So you're leaving DeAndre Ayton open. The Suns have the ability to create holes all over
Porter
Denver.
Jr., maybe? Yeah, that's tough. That's a tough matchup for them. I will agree with you there. Heat Cavs.
The Heat.
No, it's Heat Knicks.
Heat Knicks.
Sorry.
No,
it's Heat Knicks.
It's Heat Knicks?
It's Heat Knicks.
My apologies.
No, you're good. Knicks won that series 4-1. That's our fault. The Knicks are sitting in round 2, not the Cavs.
That's on me.
Apologies to the city of New York.
It's still the
Heat. It's Heat.
Jimmy Butler.
Yep.
Listen, we talked about it when he signed that deal, and I went, ooh, that's a really bloated contract. I don't know if he's going to be worth that in 2 years. Well, guess what, folks?
This is also without Tyler Hero.
And he's worth every fucking penny.
Yeah. Sixers, Celtics.
Celtics, but this Joel Embiid will push them heavily.
It'll go to 7, and this is the one where Embiid shows that he's, again, I said it last week, I said it the week before. Embiid is probably one of the best players on the planet.
Correct.
He will show that. It won't be enough. Celtics are the team to stop that train. I'm going to go Celtics Heat in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Same.
I'll go Suns Warriors in the West.
I'm probably, Suns Warriors seems most likely. I'd like to see how these 2 series shake out. But the Suns seem to be the favorite for me no matter what.
All right. And then our last segment of the day, we do only have 2 players to add to our 30 under 30 list for the MLB. The 2 22-year-olds.
Yeah, so we'll get the list up first. Mike, you want to run them down real quick?
Yep, real quick. Shohei Ohtani, Bryce Harper, Mookie Betts, Aaron Judge, Juan Soto, Francisco Lindor, Ronald Acuna Jr., Rafael Devers, Yordan Alvarez, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Alex Bregman, Fernando Tatis Jr., Hunter Green, Ozzie Albies, Bobby Witt Jr., Alex Manoah, Sandy Alcantara, Xander Bogaerts, Austin Riley, Bo Bichette, Carlos Correa, Juan Urias, Tristan McKenzie, Adley Rushman, and Johan Duran rounds out the top 25. We're going to add 2 more to that list today, 2 22-year-olds. One is from the upper Northwest, and one is from the deep Southeast.
Absolutely. Did you like the fact that all 3 of the guys from last week made the top 15? You think that was pretty accurate? You said top 10 last week. Top 15 seemed pretty fair looking at the list?
Yeah, I think there was one change I'd make, but we can even talk about it next week when we have a little bit more time. The one I was looking at was Bobby Witt. I think he's more valuable to a franchise right now than Ozzie Albies.
Sure.
But I got a killer stat on him, on Bobby Witt, that I just read this week.
Yeah, what's up?
That he was in the 93rd percentile for exit velo and in the top 100th percentile for speed.
Yeah.
Like, just to illustrate his full-on, his
nuts.
Tools. Like,
he's Byron Buxton
I didn't
with
know
contact.
he was that good. Yeah, exactly.
And
he walks.
Yeah. So our 2 22-year-olds today, Julio Rodriguez out of Seattle and Shane Baz out of Tampa Bay. So we went with one guy on the bump and one guy as a hitter.
Yeah, so the younger pitchers have started to make the list here as we kind of climb down the age ladder. But we'll start with him. Your thoughts on what Shane Baz can turn into and what he's meant to that team, they rattled off 13 wins to start the year. Their starting pitching has been a big part of that.
Shane Baz can be what David Price was for that team.
Oh, absolutely.
100%, right? He can be the number 1 for 10 years and lead them to playoff victories.
Yeah.
Period. Flat out, simple. He can be their absolute ace for a decade, and that's why he's on the list
His
at 22.
stuff is electric.
Oh, it's freaking bananas.
Yeah, I actually didn't know you guys knew how good this guy was. I've been really on him for a long time. I didn't know that he was widely known.
I'll take credit for that one, Gabe.
Yep, he replaced a 22-year-old that I had on the list.
I was
Mike
like,
goes,
Nick,
hey, go look at Shane Baz.
Go look at this guy.
I was like, oh, he made the list. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
And then Julio, honestly,
the
we're
second
running short
coming
on
of Ken
time
Griffey
on the show.
Yes.
We're towards the end.
Could be.
Out of respect, we got to touch on him, but you really don't even need to say much about this guy, right? Like, he is the 5-tool player in Seattle. He is the next coming of that Ken Griffey Jr. model.
Yeah.
That outfielder that can hit for power, contact, has speed, can play the field. Electric leader as well.
Yeah, has a good personality.
Yeah, great personality.
Yeah.
That's who he is, right? And that's you don't need to talk about him forever. He is, if you made a player in a lab to lead a team for 10 years that wasn't a pitcher.
How about 14? Because that's how long that's how long his contract is. And we're talking 14 years. What is expected of him now? 80 RBIs, 30 home runs, 30 stolen bases in a Gold Glove in center field. That's bare minimum for him. As he develops
at 22,
as he develops into a 30-year-old, could we be talking about him as like a 40 home run a year, 40 stolen base guy? Absolutely. But as of right now, for him to have accomplished to be a home run, to be competing in home run derbies and lighting the world on fire and doing all the things that he's doing, he is just unbelievable. His swing is damn near perfect.
Is so cool. It's what's cool too is he's so Griffey-esque, except his swing. A totally different swing, but so distinctive. That high finish and full extension. It's just, he's impressive. I hope that he delivers. He had a little bit of a slow start at first. He's starting to come on a little bit, but yeah,
he'll deliver.
I think so too. I think so too.
And as a guy with a 10 out of 10, Julio Rodriguez autograph card that we pulled on this show, I hope he's a 30-30 guy for the next 14 years.
Hey, and how about a little appreciation for the return of the stolen base with the clock rule, right?
Yeah.
It is awesome. I love to even hear 30-30 players again. That's even a possibility. So
I love it. I absolutely love it. So where do you place these two guys on the list?
Oh, they're both. Oh, God. This list is getting pretty heavy with talent. I will say that. But Julio,
he's got to be for me. Looking at, right now,
Bregman.
I was going to say he's better than Bregman. I would put him over Vlad. I would put him.
Yeah, that's arguable for sure.
I put Shane Baz.
You can't put him against
I put Baz.
He's our top
at the
pitcher.
Same level as Sandy Alcantara and 4 years younger.
Yeah,
if I'm being honest with you. So
even with Manoah, I'd put him over Manoah right now.
That one's close to me.
Yeah, I don't know
because Manoah's only 23, and
20
and Hunter Green shit is insane.
Yeah, I don't know. He's probably above the older pitchers, but below Hunter Green. What is that? 12?
Yeah.
So he's the 12th best player in the league under 30, which is still insane, right? Let's be honest.
But, we're
guys, we're out of time.
We are.
We're out of time. We pushed the limit today, so we got to let you go. Nick's going to do the lead out for you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in to yet another episode of Glass Half Sports. Glad to have you with us as always. If you would like to find us post-show on any platform, you can go to Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Spotify, YouTube, Patreon, and Twitch. If you're looking for us after the show in about 2 million homes here in the Twin Cities, you can find us on MCN Channel 6 at 10 o'clock on Saturdays, or anywhere you can plug in a Roku remote stick app type thing anytime you want to watch us. Make sure you tune into us next week. We'll be doing a lot of draft recap and analysis. Mike, say something positive to the folks before we get out of here.
Skol. It's okay. Trust the process.
In Quasi, we trust. Until next time, everybody, take care. Stay safe. Have fun.
Fucking barely. You guys would take J-Rod over Tatis, huh? I mean, I would, but I don't know.
Has Tatis played this year?
No, I know that, but
ooh,
before that, talent-wise,